Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be showing you how to make a men's Hmong shirt. First start with the front shirt pattern and cut out your base fabric as well as your lining. Today I'm working with satin and a red cotton lining. Next, take your cross under panel pattern and cut out one on the base fabric. Make sure that you have the fabric folded in half so you get one large piece. Next, you'll also cut out interfacing, and this one you'll be cutting in half so that you get two pieces. One piece of interfacing will be ironed onto the cross under panel. You'll want to iron it onto one side only. After ironing it on, make sure you flip it inside out so that the interfacing is on the outside, and then you'll pin one end and you'll sew that one end. If you're not sure which end, take a look at your pattern. There will be red markings on the side that needs to be sewn down. The other interfacing piece will be ironed onto the back side of the left front shirt piece. Now take that front left piece and we are going to mark over where the X's are. These X's are for where we're going to place our button and loops. So I'm taking some tailor's chalk and marking where the X's go. And then I'm going to take some pre-made button loops here that was made into a long strip, and I'm cutting them into 2.5 long pieces and then folding them in half so that there's a loop that's created, and the loop goes inside so it's facing the shirt and the ends go on the outside on the raw edge. And I'm just using some clips here to hold them in place, and I'm going to baste them onto the left side of the shirt here. That way when I go ahead and sew the lining on top, the button loops will not move out of place. Next, we are going to prep the mandarin collar. We'll need this piece in order to complete the shirt. You'll cut out 2 on your base fabric, and then because this fabric is thicker, I'm only cutting 1 interfacing piece. And I'll be ironing that interfacing piece onto one of the collar pieces. And then I'll be pinning these 2 together with the interfacing facing outwards, and then I'll be sewing along the top edge of the mandarin collar. Next, cut notches into the seam of the mandarin collar so that you can flip it inside out easily, and then you'll iron the seam flat. Take your back shirt pattern and cut out 1 on fold. You'll also need to do this again for the cotton lining. Once you've cut it out, you'll need to make sure you transfer over the dart in the back here. And I'm using wax tracing paper and a tracing wheel that can easily be purchased at Joann's for under $5 each. Sew along the dart line from top to bottom. Iron your seams flat on both the cotton lining and on your base fabric. Now we have all of our pieces prepped and we can start piecing them together. So first you'll take the back shirt piece and the 2 front shirt pieces and sew them together at the shoulders. You'll want to make sure that they are facing the right direction. repeat this with your cotton lining. So you could see here the good sides are facing each other and the bad undersides are on the outside. Sew together at the shoulders for both the base piece and the cotton linings. Iron your seams flat. Take the shirt fabric and lay it down flat with the good side facing up, and then find the center of your mandarin collar and mark it. Take the shirt pattern and place it down on the right side of the shirt and find that notch at the very top around the neckline, and that's where you're going to place the beginning of your mandarin collar. We're also going to pin down the center of the collar to the center back of the shirt. And then we're going to lay the lining on top with the good side facing down. And then we're going to work around the neckline first, and we're going to pin everything into place so that nothing moves and everything is lined up with the raw edges matching. And then we're going to sew around the whole shirt from the bottom around the neckline all the way back down to the other side. You'll want to make sure as you're pinning here that there are no wrinkles or excess fabric in between. So you could see I'm going a little bit slow here and kind of feeling out the edges here to make sure that there is no excess fabric that will cause any wrinkles when I sew down the edges. The left side of the shirt, we'll just go ahead and pin quickly because the button loop's already basted on. But the right side of the shirt, you'll need to make sure that you include the cross under panel. Take your pattern and find the notch, and that's where you want to place the top of the cross under panel. So if there's any excess, it'll just go down to the bottom, and we'll cut that off later. Next, you're going to start sewing all the way from the bottom up to around the neckline collar, and then all the way back down to the bottom of the other side of the shirt. Once all the pieces are sewn together, your top will look like this. We're going to cut away the excess fabric here and make little cuts into the shoulder and neckline area so we can easily flip the lining over. Once you flip the lining over, it'll look like this. You'll have your shirt fabric on top and your collar will now be popping out on the right side. And then make sure you iron your seams nice and flat. Now we'll have to cut out our sleeves. Make sure you cut 2 on your base fabric and then 2 cotton linings, and don't forget your cuffs. Lay down your base fabric with the good side facing up, put your cuff in between, and then lay down your lining with the good side facing down. Pin all together at the wrist area and sew straight across. Next, flip your lining all the way over and iron the sleeve seam flat. Now you'll need to sew your cuff down using a top stitch. And here's the tip, use a ruler to draw a straight edge all the way across the top of your cuff here, and then iron it flat, and that way you can easily sew down your cuff using a top stitch. We're almost done with the shirt. We'll need to add on sleeves. And to do that, I like to start with the middle of the sleeve to match up with the shoulder of the shirt. And then I work my way down one side, and I go to the other side and work my way down that side. Sew your sleeve to attach it to the top, and don't forget to serge the raw edges when you're done. Once your sleeves are added on, it'll look like this, all serged. I'm going to flip it over so you can see what the shirt looks like. And now all we have left to do is to sew the side seams together and the sleeves together. And then we'll have our shirt in one piece. And to do this, we'll match up the sleeves and the sides of the shirt. And I like to start at the wrist of the sleeve and then work my way to the center and all the way down to the hem of the shirt. Sew it all together from the wrist all the way down to the hem of the shirt, and make sure you serge off the raw edges. You can also go ahead and serge the bottom hem of the shirt so that you get a nice clean edge. Here's our completed shirt with the side seams, sleeves, and the hem completely serged. So now we'll flip it inside out and you'll get your shirt. It looks like this, nicely completed. The final step here is to sew on our buttons, and you'll have to do this by hand. Line up your shirt so that the collar at the top matches up well, and then take a piece of tailor's chalk and mark where your loops match up to the right side of the shirt, and those are the spots where you're going to hand sew your buttons on. Here is our final product. You have a completed men's Hmong shirt.